Here's everything you need to know that's happening in NFTs. Artifact Studio is launching a new project and has partnered with Twitch. Tim Ferriss is launching his own NFT and donating all of the profits to charity. So let's get into it. The first thing we're gonna talk about is what's going on in the crypto market. And when we're looking at the prices of Ethereum and Bitcoin and all the alternative coins, things are pretty steady for the most part. Ethereum is kind of stuck at that like 1.2, 1.3, and it has been there for quite some time. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Because people still believe in crypto, but you know, every other day we're getting another centralized exchange filing for bankruptcy. And this time it's crypto lender BlockFi that files for bankruptcy, and partly due to its exposure into FTX and its downfall, right? But even if that's the case, crypto still continues on. And my personal thing is like, if you have money in one of these centralized exchanges, especially the smaller ones, I think it's probably safer to kind of put it in your own ledger, put it into your own hard wallet and keep it safe. So just remember, these centralized exchanges are dropping like flies. Now diving right into the NFT news, the first thing we're gonna talk about is Tim Ferriss. So Tim Ferriss is someone that is no stranger to the zeitgeist of the internet, and he is dropping his own NFT called The Legend of Cockpunch. So that kind of looks like League of Legends kind of style, like comes to the typography and stuff like that. But first of all, before I get into the project, let me just give you a little background, right? Tim Ferriss is the founder of this foundation called CloneX Foundation, which is a non-profit foundation focused on cutting-edge scientific research. And they're going to have these different projects like NeuroRacer, some organic therapy over here. So a lot of different experiments that they're helping to fund, right? And so Cockpunch, when we're going to their website, obviously they're keeping it pretty minimal, and all the profits from this project supposedly will go to the non-profit foundation, right? So just have that in mind as we look at this project. You know, on the website, Cockpunch says that they are a fantastical realm, a universe bizarre from the mind of Tim Ferriss. So I suppose this is going to be like more of a storytelling NFT, perhaps not much utility besides the storytelling itself and getting an NFT. The mint is going to be scheduled on December 7th, 10 a.m. PST, and it's going to be 5555 supply. The price of this is going to be determined. When it comes to the art perspective, I think it's okay. I don't necessarily think it's that great. I don't feel the creative energy put into it when it comes to like thought behind it, but hey, you know, it's a crazy experiment, and you know, everyone has their own taste, right? So for the most part, when I'm looking at their Twitter strategy, it's mainly just posting the 3D renders of what they have created. There's not much community building aspects to it. Obviously, Tim Ferriss is going to use his brand and people are going to get attention. I think that's why it's getting likes and stuff like that. But I feel like they could have done a better job in kind of describing what this actually is, right? Potential buyer who's minting this thing, and if it costs money and there's 5,000 supply, they need to know what is going on before they actually mint it. What kind of stories are we creating? Is it going to be all digital, or is there physical? There's so many questions that can be answered but are not answered, especially on the website and a Twitter page. So not very clear. But if you believe in Tim Ferriss and you think that he's going to do the right thing and he's going to donate all the money to charity anyway, then I think that's why a lot of people are interested in this. Now, I'm not saying it's bad, I'm not saying it's good, I'm just giving you my honest opinion on what's going down. Next project we're going to talk about is going to be a physical digital brand called 9DCC, and this is going to be like a luxury / premium clothing brand by gmoney. As you know, there's going to be Art Week in Miami right now. What's going to happen is they're going to have these NFT / physical goods that are minted on site. It's going to be a collaboration with Art Blocks, and it's going to be with Snowfro, right? So Snowfro is the guy that actually did the Chromie Squiggle NFT. So it's going to be minted, produced, packaged live on site. Each shirt is 100% unique. There's going to be a digital chip that can identify that particular t-shirt. Now each mint is going to cost $585, which is definitely not cheap for a t-shirt, but again, it's going to be a premium product, right? And then each of those shirts will be loaded with 200 POAPs. You know, to simplify, it's pretty much you buy the NFT and then you can give these away, right? And so it's supposed to create this viral effect of like, hey, you know, I bought this thing, I'm going to give it to 200 friends, and now more people know about this brand, right? So that's essentially the core idea of doing virality. So the clothing itself is pretty cool. So I see what they're doing. So they're putting their logo over here. You know how Art Blocks has the Chromie squiggles and there's different like gradients and things like that. They're applying the same algorithm or similar algorithm to put the line under the logo, and then that's going to be things based on rarity and things like that. It's a pretty cool idea. If they're really a fan of gmoney and they're also a fan of Art Blocks, then actually it's a pretty cool thing, right? Especially if you're going to get an NFT that comes with this and you get a t-shirt. Again, it's not cheap, but at the same time, you know, NFTs in general, like a lot of people are selling NFTs for hundreds of dollars of it anyways, right? And if you think about Art Blocks, it's literally just like a squiggle. I understand where this price comes from, and I understand that it comes from a physical product. It's not for everybody. For the right person, it might be something interesting. So if you're in Miami, definitely check it out, or at least like see how it's done, right? I think that's one of the cool things. Even if you don't buy, I would be curious to know like how are they printing these shirts on demand, because kind of an innovation in a sense where you like mint a physical product at an event. So definitely interesting indeed. Now speaking of upcoming mints, as you know, in yesterday's video we talked about JUUNI. I kind of gave you a breakdown of what it is, how it's a community for artists and collectors. And one of the things that recently came out since that video dropped was the minting schedule. So I want to talk about that real quick. There's going to be 3 phases of the mint. There's going to be public phase 1, public phase 2, and whitelist. So on December 9th, the mint price is going to be 0.25. Each person can mint 2 if you have a whitelist. This is only going to be eligible for people who have submitted an application. And, you know, some people might have accepted applications, some people are pending, some people are rejected. So you actually had to submit something in order to be on this list. Once this kind of runs out, it's going to go to phase 2 if there are any left over. And this is where everybody can mint, right? So the reason why this is here is because, you know, we want to give an opportunity for people that actually tried before we give it to everybody, right? And then from there, we're going to have the whitelist mint, which is going to be a bit cheaper at that 0.2 ETH. And you're going to have an entire 24 hours to mint that. So there's no rush if you already have the whitelist spot. Now, any spots that are unclaimed during the whitelist mint, consider it phase 3. Then it will be open for public. Again, 0.25. If you have whitelist, no rush. If you want to get it on public, you have opportunity in phase 1. If you didn't apply or anything like that, then there's phase 2. You know, if you are interested in that, and again, I am advising this project, so, you know, full disclaimer, right? Definitely want to check it out, see how it's going, check out the Discord, see if it's something for you. If you're someone that believes in the artist community and collector community and really just uplifting artists, helping them start their careers and putting the spotlight on some talented artists. Now, the next thing I do want to talk about is going to be degods. So degods and y00ts recently came out with a new staking mechanism, which I found interesting. How it works is that you can stake your y00ts, but it's going to earn points, right? So this is a little different from earning a token. So in the past, it was like you hold an NFT or you stake an NFT, and every day you accrue like 5 to 10 tokens. And then with those tokens, what do you do with them? Who knows, right? For this one, what's a little different is that instead of having a token, which is, you know, a little gray because is it a security? Is it like, you know, what is it? These are going to be points. So there's no monetary value in these points. It's just a point, right? Like a video game. When you stake it, what will happen is you stake it, but you actually can keep it in your wallet, so you don't have to give it to another contract, which is something you had to do in the past. So it seems like every 1 minute stake equals 1 y00ts point. It's interesting because people are going to accrue literally like thousands or hundreds of thousands of points because every minute you're getting another point. And so over time, there's going to be airdrops, physical products, sponsor brand activations, which, you know, a lot of brands are going to do that in the future, especially Web3. And then you use those points to get something, right? So for example, let's say Red Bull collaborates with y00ts and they do a special NFT or something like that, right? And then they're going to be like, hey, you know, you're going to have to spend 10,000 points for this NFT. And all these people with points, they're going to be like, oh my God, like y00ts is giving us, you know, free money because we can use our points for something, right? And the thing is, you can't sell your points, which is very different from a token. So the token is like people sell it for money. This one, it kind of stays attached to your NFT. And even if you sell your NFT, let's say on Magic Eden, for example, those points transfer with that NFT. Now, some people are like, you know, is this really innovative? I'm sure people have done something similar in the past. Yes, but on a larger scale and making it aesthetic and more easier to understand, I think they did a pretty good job, right? So degods is also going to have the same thing, but before degods had dust, right, which is a token, and then now they are basically doing both. Long story short, you can earn dust and these points at the same time. That's why it pays off to have degods and a y00ts, because you're always earning these points that you can use for, hey, something in the future, right? When you go on the apps.degods.com, here's going to be the staking page, right? So you can see this is minimum value locked, degods staked, and then total staked. So this is very interesting because when you look at this number, it's a pretty big number, 40 million of value locked, right? So one of the things I've learned in marketing, especially in crypto and NFTs, is that market cap is a form of marketing, meaning that there's a lot of projects, whether it's gaming project, social project, PFP projects. When people look at the high floor price and people look at the very high market cap, people must be thinking, wow, it's so big, it must be great, I gotta buy it, right? So that's how like projects are able to get a lot of free marketing. They don't have to spend any money on ads and things like that. It's just like having a high market cap. So I understand why they put it here, because it kind of makes you feel like, oh, you know, if everyone's been staking it and this is worth so much, I should stake it too, right? And so it kind of creates incentive for people to take an action. So all these things are kind of like variables that push someone to be like, hey, I'm just gonna stake it too. And if they stake it, they don't sell, right? And the floor price goes higher. And that's pretty much how that works. So little tip for you guys, if you are building a project, use these numbers and put them in the right place in order to get people to buy and stake your project without having to spend a dime on marketing. The next story we got to cover is going to be Project Animus. So it's going to have this egg experience. And this is interesting because there's going to be some kind of quest on Twitch. So, you know, this is a situation where an NFT project is going to be collaborating with a large Web2 brand, which is Twitch, right? Pretty interesting because like a lot of these Web3 brands, you know, if they are popular enough, they're going to have an opportunity to do these collaborations with people like Twitch, right? And if you look at degods, for example, or y00ts, when we look at what people will use with tokens, like we said before, sponsored brand activations, right? So the whole game really is like a lot of Web2 brands, they want to get into Web3, but they don't know anything about Web3, and no one on their team has the expertise in this space. So the people that really know are the ones that are doing projects because they are in the trenches. Because you're in that situation, if you're a project or even if you're an agency, you have an opportunity to bring those Web2 brands into Web3. Let's say in 2023, we're going to see this whole wave of Web2 brands trying to get into Web3, and they're not going to go big right off the bat at first because they want to test things out. Like for example, Twitch is testing out what it's like to market to the NFT market with the Artifact and Nike. So we're gonna see like these little experiments here and there. Then eventually, once they figure it out and once there's more demand for digital collectibles, I would predict that a lot of Web 2 brands are gonna go big in Web 3. So if you're a builder or something like that, or maybe you're an independent builder, this is an opportunity for you to basically create your project when there's not as much competition as there will be in the future. And if you're an agency or something like that, this is your time to bring Web 2 brands in. So that's definitely things that I'm talking about and my friends are thinking about. So that's something I will pass to you guys. So that is everything we got to cover for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and I will see you in the next one.